It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
And as usual, I screw up the intro. Anyway, oh well. Hey, welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News on Election Day 2020 here in the States. If you're new to this channel, welcome aboard. We do travel and cruise information and news every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Make sure you hit that little subscribe button down there in the lower right-hand corner. I had messages from several of you guys yesterday wanting to know why I wasn't talking about the hurricane. It was but went from nothing to a category 4 yesterday. And usually I come on and, talk about it. Well, there was a reason. Then I had the debate on whether or not to talk to you guys about that reason this morning. And I finally decided, heck, you guys are as much like family to me as my family is. So I might as well share with you what's been going on. Sunday morning, about 1:30 or so, I had the old man's disease of getting up in the middle of the night and going to the bathroom. That happens all the time. Some of you that are my age have probably experienced the same thing every night, multiple times. Well, I started having some problems with that. And after a couple hours that I was back and forth, I said, uh-oh, I've gotten a UTI, an infection of some type. That's what it was acting like. So on a Sunday, I think, well, I need to try to wait this out till Monday so I can go see my doctor. So it just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And Sunday afternoon, of course, I did the Cruise Amigos show. And by then I was really starting to get miserable. I went on and did the show. Nobody knew about it except Pete. I did confide with Pete early before we did the show, just in case I had to totally bail out, which I made it through the show with a lot of discomfort. So after the show, I'm still thinking, well, I need to make it through to tomorrow so I can go see my doctor. So I got to about 7:30, 8 o'clock Sunday night, and I said, I can't take it anymore. By then I was just totally locked up down south, down there. Nothing working. So made the trip to the emergency room at the hospital. And hats off to Lynchburg General Hospital, Dr. Mike, and all the staff there in the emergency room. But anyway, the bottom line is I was in the emergency room. They ran all kinds of tests and stuff, and put a catheter in. Some of you are familiar with that. That's why I didn't want to share that today, but that's what it was. I mean, they take a pipe that's about this wide, and they put it in a space about this wide, but it relieves the pressure, let's say. Well, I still got the sucker in until I get it out tomorrow. I just had a phone call from the folks that are checking on me from the hospital. And they said, well, we would like to see that thing in there for a week. But my doctor said tomorrow. So I'm going tomorrow afternoon to get it out. So actually, once it was in within like 5 minutes, and I mean, the fluid started coming out of me like crazy. And I started feeling immediately better. I don't feel bad, folks, other than it's the discomfort of this thing that's in me. And it ain't comfortable. It's not pleasant. And, you have to do all this stuff with that in mind. So anyway, I've been up this morning to prepare for the show. And that's why yesterday I didn't do a special video on the hurricane. Not that I wasn't watching it, but I was stoned out of my gourd, because they gave me some hefty pain pills to go with the antibiotics. And basically, I quit taking the pain pills last night so I'd get unstoned enough to do the show today. So here I am. So now we can go talk about Hurricane Eta. And this is, if you haven't been following it, folks, you should be. This is a doozy. This thing literally came up in 24 hours from a tropical storm to a Category 4. It was borderline Category 5. It got up to 150 miles an hour. Now, it's just kind of parked right off of Puerto Cabezas, Nicaragua, which is a town of about 50,000 people. And it's parked like 20, 30 miles right offshore. It's moving at like 4 miles an hour. So it's just dumping this horrendous wind and rain just into Nicaragua and Honduras down there in Central America. And eventually it's going to come ashore and it'll start weakening some. Now, it did weaken slightly. It's down to 145 miles an hour, unless that's changed. Let me go over here and check and see if the 11 o'clock is up yet. Let's see here. It's still 145 miles an hour, moving at 5 miles an hour now. So it's sped up a little bit, but we're talking about catastrophic wind damage expected when the eye wall moves ashore and before, because it's just dumping this winds all along the coast there of Central America. This is the northeast coast of Nicaragua, right off. It's just southeast of Puerto Cabezas. Tropical storm force or greater winds are already occurring within the area. Warning is in effect for northeast coast of Honduras also. Catastrophic and life-threatening storm surge, along with destructive waves, are expected along portions of the northeastern coast of Nicaragua and north, where it actually makes the landfall, which is going to be near Puerto Cabezas. They're talking about 14 to 21 feet of storm surge. So you're talking about a massive storm, and it's just parked there. This is. Remember the Dorian in the Bahamas? How it just parked forever and ever and ever, and just dumped crap on that portion of the Bahamas. Well, this is doing basically the same thing. And the problem, some of you have been to Central America. I mean, all those little towns and villages, they got one road in, and there's steep mountains, and storm surge is going to kill them, and landslides and stuff with all that rain and wind. It's just, this is going to be a nasty, bad situation for Central America. And then what's going to happen when it finally comes ashore? So let's assume it comes ashore and starts weakening some. They're talking about, basically, if you look at this thing, the spaghetti models go everywhere, including some go straight across and then out into the Pacific. But basically, if you're looking down at the spaghetti models, it comes in here in Nicaragua, crosses into Honduras, is the most likely path, gets into Belize, and then takes a big right-hand turn and comes back out over water again. And then who knows what's going to happen then. Probably it'll have another landfall in Cuba. It's possibly that it'll go straight across Cuba and then have a third landfall in southern Florida, on the west coast of Florida. So the Keys and all of southern Florida are going to fall into the possibility of this. There's also the possibility that it could tick north a little further before it makes that big right-hand turn and go out through the Yucatan, and then possibly go through the straits between Cuba and the tip of the Yucatan and head for the Gulf Coast again. And God knows the Gulf Coast doesn't need any more storms. So this has turned into a massive hurricane for this late in the year. It's just unbelievable that we're dealing with a Category 4, close to a Category 5. Let's see what else we got here. Looking down over the notes on this to see if I missed anything. It's the 9th storm that has gone through rapid intensification this year. It's going to be awful. They're talking 15 to 25 inches of rain through those narrow roads in the mountains of Nicaragua and Honduras. It could just really be a bummer. So bad storm. We're going to probably through the weekend or early next week have to deal with it somewhere here in the United States. God only knows at this point where, because we just can't tell how this is going to go. But it's going to wreak havoc here for the next 3 or 4 days in Central America before it pops back into the ocean and we get some idea where it's going to go after that. So another doozy bad storm that is going to get to the coast eventually. So happy election day to all you guys. I know Emily up there in New York is out. She's running the election up there in New Rochelle. Actually, she's not running it. She's a poll worker. But congratulations to all you guys that are out participating today. If you haven't voted, folks, and I don't care whether you're a Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative, go out and vote. Make your voice heard today. If you have not voted early, like I did, like many of us did, please go out and put up with the lines at the polls and vote. Whichever way you vote, I'm not saying one way or the other, but make sure you vote this year. This year above many years. So by now, everybody has probably heard that Norwegian and first Norwegian, then Royal Caribbean, then MSC, and finally last night, Carnival confirmed that it is officially canceling the remainder of 2020. The new round of cancellations suspends voyages until December 31st. MSC, Norwegian, and Royal Caribbean also canceled for the remainder of 20 earlier in the day yesterday. Who knows, folks? Is this a direct reaction to the whole CDC thing from earlier in the week with all the regulations that they're sticking on the cruise industry before they're going to let you sail? Or is this a reaction to the awful spike of cases in the United States that at least half of this population just are trying to ignore like it doesn't exist? And it's awful. So I don't know. It could be either reason. I'm not saying it's because of the CDC that all the majors have canceled through the end of the year. I'm saying it's equally could be because these things are bad here. They're also bad in Europe. So far, the major cruise lines, at least MSC, is still sailing. That's subject to change because a number of the countries are shutting down. So who knows what's going to happen on the European side of things. But anyway, so everything's done. Now, all you guys that are scheduled for January, like, Bonnie and Jason up in Pittsburgh, y'all had Tom. I'm sure he's got something scheduled early in the year, but who knows? Are they going to actually sail January? It's a good question. And again, that's going to be up to the CDC, and we just don't know yet. We don't know how much time it's going to take for them to issue these licenses so passengers will be accepted on board. And I don't know. It just, would the outcome today change things? I have no idea. And I'm so whichever side you're pulling for, is that going to change the cruise industry at all? Who knows? I clearly don't. So you guys that have plans for the early January, just, that's not written in stone, I'm afraid to tell you. I hope they can sail. I hope they can get started and do it safely. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to be gloom and doom, but that's, it's getting up close now. Now they're, you only got 3 or 4 days like when Jason's supposed to sail after they could possibly get it started. And then is his ship going to be one of them that's going to be starting that early? That's the other thing, because we don't have any idea on which ships they're going to try to get licensed to sail, in what order. We don't know yet. So, all right, one other interesting story, and it has to do with Viking, of all people. Again, I don't do a lot about Viking cruises, but my friend Emma loves Viking to death. Viking Cruises announced it has completed the installation of the first full-time PCR laboratory at sea, which means that the ship will be able to conduct virus testing in-house via a non-invasive saliva test. PCR testing can be used to see if someone has coronavirus, though it is used for many diagnoses and has been around for nearly 30 years. So a floating laboratory now on a cruise ship, which means they can start using it, which is awesome. Now, I think you're going to see a lot of that going on. One other story, and we'll jump over and see who's in chat today, and that has to do with Emily's governor up there in New York. New York State travel advisory list is being retired and is instead transitioning into a new travel testing policy. Governor Cuomo previously announced the change, but gave further details on how it will work during a conference call with reporters over the weekend. Under the new testing policy, there will no longer be a quarantine list of state metrics. Instead, those traveling to New York must take a COVID-19 test before traveling and after arriving. Once arriving in New York State, the traveler must quarantine for 3 days, then take another COVID test on the 4th day. If the test comes back positive, the traveler must continue to quarantine for a total of 14 days. The governor says those who choose not to get tested must remain in quarantine for 2 weeks. So, I actually liked their travel advisory because that gave you some idea what was going on a running basis with all the states. Now, yeah, I'm sure that gave them headaches just trying to track that for all 50 states. But it gave us a metric to follow, us outside New York. So I'm sorry to see that, but I mean, I understand that they got to do things that they got to do. So anyway, that's what's happening in New York. So no longer have that silly list that I've referred to on numerous occasions. All right, let's go see who's here this morning. I'm probably going to wrap this up relatively quick today, as I'm a little uncomfortable sitting. But Gretchen's here. Hey, Gretchen, how's things out there in Ohio? Sonny's here from down Mississippi. By the way, if you guys missed out on it Sunday, the Cruise Amigos announced the formation of basically our new program that we're going to start called Support a Port, which is going to be a foundation where we're going to raise money for the ports themselves. And this kind of grew as was an outgrowth of the fact that a cruise ship, they haven't gone into ports forever. I mean, since February now. And all those people that are working to service the cruise industry, be those, my friend in Nassau that makes me the pina coladas every time I got off the boat in Nassau, or the guys that run the hop on, hop off bus tours, or the guys that do the carriage tours, or any of those kind of things. I mean, they've had no income, none, because there are no cruise ships. And that's going to continue on. Let's assume that we start sailing from the United States in January. and things get back over time to a normal basis, at least for the next God knows how long, the cruise ships are going to totally control excursions, which means that a lot of these independent contractors that live off the cruise industry are not going to be able to make any money because, people, they won't be in the bubble that the cruise ships are going to require. So the Cruise Amigos came up with the idea of forming Support a Port. We are going to raise funds. We formed a foundation. This is all being done legally. It's a nonprofit foundation. We are going to start raising funds for the individual port. Basically, I'm going to look at it if I'm on a cruise, the money that I normally would spend when I don't go on excursions normally. You guys all know that. I get off the boat and I go to a bar and have a couple cocktails and have lunch, or I enjoy the tours, the hop on, hop off bus tours and the trolley tour like in Key West. That I love to do because I get to hear a guy talking for an hour, tell me about the area and funny stories and things. I enjoy those. That part of it I enjoy. Or going to a locals bar or, a Margaritaville or Senior Frogs or one of those and sit and watch people and have something to eat and a couple cocktails. So I'm going to take that money and I'm going to donate. Let's say if I was going to go on a cruise that stopped in Nassau, I would take the money that I would spend. I'm going to donate it to Port a Port to go to Nassau. Now, what the Support a Port Foundation is going to do is they're going to hold that money until it gets enough money. It's probably going to be $100 is going to be our window. When we get $100 for a specific port, we're going to work with our partners on doing this and find the right location for that money to go in Nassau. And we're going to get those funds to the folks in Nassau that need it the most. And we're going to do that for every port in the world. If you want to support a port in St. Petersburg, Russia, so be it. We'll come up with the right place for that money to go. So it's going to be a whole program around that called Support a Port that the Cruise Amigos have started. Sunday, we're going to have a soft launch where we're actually going to kick this thing off with the website so that you can go on and start donating money. We don't care if you donate $5, $10, $20, or $100. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the amount. And just give it to your favorite port. Like Pete loves Southampton because that's his local port. And I think his mother maybe was born there. So he's going to donate some money to Southampton. John loves Barcelona. So I'm sure that Barcelona is going to be in his side of things. And it can be multiple ports that you like or that you're going to be going to. And maybe you know that they can't spend the money and you want to give them a little bit of money, work toward getting some money to the people that need it the most in that port. So we're going to support the people that have taken care of us for years when the cruise ships go into a town, and those folks that depend on the tourists to live, we're trying to give some money back to those guys. So that's the Support a Port program. All right. Sorry, I got sidetracked from comments. Sonny, Gretchen, everybody says hello. There's John's here from up in Minnesota. Good morning, John. Here, my program's at 10:30 this morning, so I can be here. Oh, sweet. All right, John, welcome aboard. Glad you're here. Nikki's here. Hey, Nikki. Tom's here. Hi. Tom says hi, everybody. John is interviewing the North Dakota Commission of Agriculture today. Oh, that's awesome. That's pretty cool. Perhaps Chillie is allergic to bourbon. You know what? I did, come to think about it, Sunday after the show, I did have, no, that was Saturday. Saturday after the cocktail party, I had a couple bourbons. I didn't have a bourbon with the cocktail party. but I did have a couple with dinner, which I haven't had done for a while. That's an interesting thought, John. I hadn't even considered that, but I did have a couple cocktails before all this happened Sunday during the night. But yeah, no, wasn't pleasant. I don't recommend this to anybody. Let me tell you, and I have no, you girls, I don't know how your plumbing works, but it doesn't work well for men, not at all. Okay, John, send Chillie some of your product. Yeah, send me some of that dope. I can smoke the dope, rub some bourbon on my, never mind where I'm going to rub the bourbon. John says the bottom line. Yeah, yeah. I knew you guys would have fun with this one. Oh, Tom gets his leg veins glued tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. Wow. I hope that goes well, Tom. And no, I'm not going to ask you to do a live stream on that one. I might have asked you to do that had I not been to my experience of the last 48 hours. Jason's with us. Hey, Jason, how's things up in Pittsburgh? I'm sorry you guys are up there where it's cold and snowing and stuff. Although we've had some pretty brutally cold for this time of year in Virginia the last few days, but I mean, we haven't had any snow yet or anything, but yeah, all you guys up there north of us are, it's not being very nice. Tom Henry says, we voted no line at all. Jason says he voted in September. So did I. I'm totally impressed. And I'll say this. And again, folks, this is not having anything to do Republican, Democrat, whatever, but 99.5 million people voted early this year. That to me is awesome. And yeah, a lot of it's because a lot of us, like me, didn't want to take the chance on going, to standing in line at the polls. But yeah, and I'm glad that the lines aren't so bad like what Tom was today. Tom should be in Bermuda today. Yeah, sorry about that one, Tom. Those are about as useful as our cruise predictions. Yeah. Jason still says he's going to predict that he sails January 2nd. Jason, I hope you're right. I really do. $5 PayPal donation to Chillie for the loser. No, that's a bet. Anyway, I didn't even stick the link up there, but it's down in the description of the video, folks, the PayPal thing. Nikki said, egads, Chillie, hope you get well. I hope I get well, too. And actually, I don't feel bad, folks. It's uncomfortable, but that's all. It's a pain in the butt to stand and sit and stand up because you got to be careful not to pull this damn thing. And the other thing that's amazing about it, the cats who I figured would be attacking, they've been so good around me this whole time. I did go into the kitchen this morning to make my coffee because I get up before anybody else in this household. So I just carried my little thing, which I have to go to, empty things. And I went into the kitchen to make coffee, and I, quite frankly, folks, I kind of hang it off my belt. So it hangs down, but it's, manageable. So the kittens they looked but they haven't tried to attack it and swat and bat at tubes and things. And, they've been really, really good, which surprised the crap out of me. I thought that was going to be a major problem, but it has not been so far. Of course, that's subject to change the next time I walk out of the cave. Tom Henry says, I pay if you cruise, you pay if you don't cruise. He's just still dealing with Jason on the bet. Gretchen says she thinks Jason will cruise too. Man, I hope you're right. I hope they do. And again, what ships is Carnival going to take first? And can they do multiple ships at a time? There's so many questions about this that we just don't know yet. I feel certain that's the main reason that they've backed things up to January 1st, because they got to do all this stuff now for the CDC guidelines that they didn't have to do until earlier in the week. So I hope you're right, and I hope Jason, your ship is one. I mean, that was on one of the 6 that was going to sail first. So hopefully that'll still go through, and yours will be one of the ones on the list that we do get off first. So that's why I'm still rooting for you. I'm hoping that you're going to go come January 2nd as well. And Tom Henry says, yeah, I think it's great that I win either way. Yeah. So, yeah, you and Jason have a bet and then pay me at the end. I like it. So, good luck, Tom Henry. How do they do that? Oh, the vein thing. Yeah. Thankfully, I've never had to deal with that one. Of course, the way my body's falling apart this year, good Lord. That's probably next. Tom says, I'll find out. I'm imagining shots of some type of adhesive. Morgan, of unofficial travel, had river cruise canceled in Europe. Yeah, a lot of the stuff in Europe is totally shut down now. But the last I heard, MSC was still sailing. I'm not sure how people are getting to the ship because, well, I don't know, Italy's not one of the countries that's totally shut down again. But anyway, that's subject to change too. Tom Henry says, Bruce was to cruise with us in a 2-room suite. I don't think he will leave Canada. Jason says, I don't think Bruce will ever leave Canada again. He's permanently attached to Canada. Now, of course, Canada's shut down, travel to the U.S. again now until up into next year. That doesn't matter that much as far as the cruise industry goes. It matters to somebody like Bruce because he's only, a few miles from the U.S. border, and he comes across the U.S. border to shop at Costco, which he can't do. So anyway, well, listen, guys, that's going to wrap me up for today. Again, tomorrow I get to go get this thing out. I'm not looking forward to that at all, but I am looking forward to it not being there when they're done. So I will see how that goes. I'll be back with you on Thursday, normal time. If you're new to this channel, this is a little bit unusual show. I usually don't get as personal as I did in this one, but I think you guys all see why. We're a big family here, and just letting everybody know what's going on. So if you're new, welcome aboard. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We do this every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. The bell notification tells you when I go live or when I post videos, which can be at any time. And again, keep in mind, Sunday is our special show on the Cruise Amigos live from London, where we're going to be talking about Support-a-Port. We're going to have some special guests on. So put that on your calendar and join us as we kick off and start things going with Support-a-Port this weekend. So we'll have our website up and the pay button and all that business will be active. So you can start donating to your favorite port literally anywhere in the world. So that's it for today. This is Chillie, the old fat travel guy. Make sure you get out and vote if you haven't, folks. Stay safe, wear your mask, socially distance, all the sanitizing and cleanliness you need to do. Stay safe, stay healthy, and hopefully Jason gets to sail January 2nd. We all get to sail real soon. This is Chillie, the old fat travel guide. Until next time, I'll see you guys Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Later, y'all.
Thank you for watching today's Travel and Cruise Industry News. Join us every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern for another episode. Travel and Cruise Industry News is a production of Chillie's Cruises.